my very special guest, Daryl Hamamoto, is that how you pronounce it? I hope so, is my very special guest. And we've been talking for the last hour or so about psychopaths and trauma and scumbaggery, etc. And now we're going to be talking about some coping mechanisms which might be handy and prove fruitful. Daryl, take it away.
Yes, sir. So you wanted to know about antidotes to scumbaggery?
Oh, yeah. That's kind of my job.
Okay. Keep close to your friends. Avoid the toxic individuals. For example, I try to stay away from work as much as possible. The work site itself has a very creepy, eerie feeling around it. And I have this sense, this premonition of great violence and evil that's about to break out there for some reason. Because as you know, in America, there has been an outbreak of violence, violent types of attacks, some of them staged events, but most of it down to the overprescription of psychotropic drugs. So that is a campaign that I've been involved with, not to promote them, but to identify them as being the scourge that they are. And this, by the way, is one of the main reasons why I have found myself in such difficulties at the University of California, Davis, because the former chair of my department was the recipient of 1.5 million American dollars per year from the so-called National Institute of Mental Health in order to convince young people that they have some sort of mental debility or mental illness, which would stigmatize them. It would go into their files or primitive files, and plus it would make them patients for life for psychotherapists and for psychotropic drugs. And I think most of your viewers are savvy and educated and aware enough to know the dangers, the risks of selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and the way that the big pharmaceutical companies have marketed them specifically to young people, and within that, particularly targeting women, young women. And I started noticing that in my classes about 10 years ago, and I tried to figure out what was going on here, and I asked around, and I talked to one of my colleagues at the University of California, Santa Cruz. She runs a creative writing program. And she said, it's the antidepressants. She says, all my students are on them. They're high strung. They're delicate, right? So what we're seeing here with all these social justice warriors, right? This is the culmination of a twofold process. One is this Prozac revolution, the antidepressants, and the other is this weaponization of the race, class, gender, I call it weaponized multiculturalism that has become institutionalized in the university. And you bring those two together and you have a volatile mixture. So I like to stay away from campus as much as possible. On the other hand, I do have some really good students as well. They're diminishing in number, but the ones that I do have are excellent. And I do have some excellent colleagues as well. But I've seen a dark transformation, a dark cloud that has descended upon the institution. That cloud must be lifted. And even if I have to do it single-handedly, I'll do it. I'll try. At least I'll make the attempt. So yes, medications, pharmaceuticals, not necessary. Bring back compulsory physical education, K through 12 in American school systems. Bring back physical education at the universities. They used to be mandatory. And get people back in touch with their bodies at a healthy level, and strictly limit the use of these pharmaceuticals that have been marketed so aggressively over the past 20 years in particular.
It's a big scope, and I was thinking about this earlier today, actually. You can't go from drugs, will protect me and help me, they're safe, they have no side effects, I trust my doctor, I trust my government, all the way over to the medical system as a cartel run by mafia of industrialists who create bioweapons marketed as therapeutic medicines that infect people with